A Swift Kick in the Ass, episode 160. Life is challenging and difficult. No one gets out alive. Time to suck it up, Buttercup. Get ready for a monster-sized boot, aimed to help you get traction on personal change and get living. I am John Curran, your host. Join me as I share my journey, exploring the forces that motivate us to change and help us get through whatever life throws at us. A swift kick in the ass. Life on your terms. Welcome to another episode of A Swift Kick in the Ass. This is John Curran, your host. Today's episode, Find Your Inner Badass. You heard me. Find your inner badass. You are a badass. You just don't know it. And this episode is really going to be about exploring your story, about you being a badass, because that is what you are. So you might be thinking, what the hell is John talking about? I mean, he has just flipped his lid. He's gone a little bit too far. I'm not a badass. But that's what you're telling yourself, right? It's a narrative. And I saw something today on Facebook. And so what I saw on Facebook was this picture of this person kind of looking into the inside of a mask that they had taken off. And I guess that you could see a reflection in that mask or whatever. I'm not sure exactly what they were seeing, but very huddled up close right behind them are these demons. It's pretty freaking weird. But I'll put it on my site so you can see it. And I might actually put it I'll put it out there so you can see it. Anyhow, so you've got this picture of this person that is looking at this mask, the inside of this mask, and what it reads is it says, instead of fighting your inner demons, examine them with curiosity and learn why they are there. Offer them love and understanding each and every time they come to visit. So let me just say that again, because I think it's worth repeating. Instead of fighting your inner demons, examine them with curiosity and learn why they are there. Offer them love and understanding each and every time they come to visit. So think back, I think back about when Tommy was he was dying. He may have been already dead already. Whenever it was, I was going through that process of losing my friend. And that demon that I was facing was death. You know, I had to kind of face my own mortality when your oldest, dearest friend gets brain tumors and gets a terminal illness, and you know that his story was ending. Tommy knew that his story was ending, and that's why it was so important for him to live out his life as the best that he possibly could with the time that he had left. And that is what I have also walked away with from Tommy's death. Now, Tommy's story ended, but I have learned from that. And what I have learned is that my story is going to end too. And I'm going to do everything I possibly can to make the best out of the time that I have. Now, a good story captures your emotion, right? It's a good story. You read a good book, you watch a movie, you stream some video. You get caught up in this story and it gets emotional, right? A great story is going to touch your deep in your soul. It's going to touch you in places that you might not even know exist, and touch emotions that you might not even know exist, and just pull things out. Like there's a movie, I think it's called The Judge, and it's about Robert Downey Jr.'s in it, and he goes back to his town because his father is dying, and he's a lawyer, and he has to deal basically with his father and the death of his father. So I had lost my father at that time, I think, and man, it just I'm getting choked up just thinking about it. Like I said, a good story is going to tug at your heartstrings. So, if a good story tugs at your heartstrings and can touch you in such great ways, and carries such emotions with it, doesn't it make sense that since your life is a story, that the emotions that you carry around with you in your day-to-day life really carry a lot more weight than you're probably giving them? These emotions lead us to making different decisions in our lives. Some people really let their emotions control their lives. I work very diligently not to allow my emotions to, be that big of a part of my decisions. But that's just me. But my life and your life, it's a story. And I want my, happiness. I want my life to be about happiness. And the emotion that you carry with your life, it does become your life and your life story. Think about how important this is and how the decisions that you make and really contribute to that. So think about, I guess if you have a decision to make, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start thinking about, how does this contribute to my story? Does it, is it a good part of my story? Is it a bad part? I might get to know it a little bit better. Now, going back to that picture, and going back to what I was talking about, Tom, when he was dying, that was very emotional. And when we go through big life change, it is extremely emotional. And at that time, go back and listen to those podcasts, you'll see that I learned through Tom to embrace the suck. And I equivalent embrace the suck to, instead of fighting your inner demons, examine them with curiosity and learn why they're there. Get to know them. Take them out for a beer. Get buddy. Get to know a little bit about them, and give them love and understanding. I think I try to practice this every day. When I get pushed back, there's a lot of hatred in this world. And we really do have a choice about what we put out there in this world. Now, hate is an emotion. So is love and understanding. And I try to live that life. When I'm being pushed back, I try to put myself in other people's shoes, but I recognize that, I haven't walked that road. I have a difficult time when people tell me that, that's just the way it is. They can't think any differently. They can't change things. It's bull, because I know differently. I really think that this concept of embracing the suck, and instead of fighting your inner demons, confront them. Not in an aggressive way, but stand up and say, hey, take notice. I guess confront, take notice of them, and get to know them, examine them. I think that brought me out of that funk and that depression that I was most definitely in when Tommy was sick. And look at all that came out of it. My life story has changed. Tommy's has ended. Mine continues. And it is better than ever. I've been working on a almost 60-year-old boat. I know I have an episode about it called, I think, The Boat, maybe. But, or Toys in the Driveway. Working on that project, taking a 60-year-old boat, fiberglass shell, and getting the motor in and getting all the wiring in and installing the fish finder and the radio and the ship to shore radio and fixing the deck, and installing the gas tanks, all these things I had never done before. That is now part of my story. I now know how to work fiberglass. It's kind of cool. I know how the power tilt works. Real quickly, this last Saturday I was working on my boat, pulled out this power tilt motor, which basically is an electric hydraulic pump that raises and lowers the propeller on the back of the boat. Mine was leaking, and I needed to take it off to figure out what was wrong, or to just replace it, because I can't have hydraulic fluid lift, all in the bilge. It's a fire hazard and it's bad for the fiberglass. So anyhow, I take it off. It's all the way in the back. Pull that out. It's in a very awkward place, and I tighten it up, and I mean, it actually looks really good, but there were some bolts that were loose. So I don't have to replace it. I just have to tighten it up and do some maintenance on it. I'm happy, right? I'm so excited about it. I go and I'm putting it in. It's only 2 bolts, but they're in really awkward place. I put the bolt in. It falls out, and it falls down into this place where I can see it, but I can't really get to it. And when I try to get to it, it drops even farther out of my way into a place right near where the starter is, which is basically, when you hit that key on your starter in your car, it pushes this gear out into something called a flywheel, and that's what turns the motor out. Well, if there's a big, heavy bolt in the way, you are going to screw up your motor. I could not have that, and I thought, I just started to freak out, honestly. I was so mad. I don't think I've ever cussed that much in my life. I got extremely frustrated. I really just thought the narrative I was telling myself is that I'm screwed, and I screwed myself over, and I effed myself over. And it was not good. But through my training, through meditation, training and practice, I was able to get through that. I was able to calm myself down, take deep breaths, know to take a break, to walk away from it for a few minutes, to really get out of the mindset that I'm this victim and, even I caused the problem. That I had a mindset that I needed somebody's help. I'm trying to call out to friends to get tools, like a camera, so I can maybe see where the bolt is, instead of really doing just what I knew I needed to do. And that was I got to pull off a starter. I got to see if I can find the bolt. But the starter's the best place to pull it off. I had to problem solve. And problem solving required me to have the attitude that no one is coming to rescue me. I can only save myself. And if I don't fix this, I don't have a boat. I'm screwed. I got to pull the motor out. I paid someone to put the motor in. I got to pull the motor out just to get a freaking bolt. As you could tell, I was mad. This is like last week. So that is part of my story, right? So much emotion with it. My training partner, Jason, who I had on a couple episodes back, he's a mechanic, and I tried to enlist his help, and he's like, man, I never heard you were frustrated. And he's like, hey, man, you got every right to be frustrated. Kids just came in from the rain. I had to stop. Take me off of my story for just a minute. But in any case, there's great emotion in our lives. Emotion that we're going to remember. I won't actually, within like 90 seconds, your emotions are going to pass most of the time. But when you get deeply involved with something like that, like a major screw up on something that you're working on, or something that you're deeply passionate about that's not going your way, that emotion can hang on to that story. So it's up to you to change that story and close that chapter, and turn another page and take it in another direction. That is totally up to you. And you're the main character in your story. You can dictate what that character does to a large degree. Now, you're going to be held responsible, accountable, and things. I'm not telling you to do bad things or good things. I'm not telling you to do anything in particular. I'm just trying to get you to think about how important your emotional health is to living a life on your terms. And I really do feel that it pulled me out of a funk that I was in. And I am so thankful that I embraced the suck and I confronted my demons, and I was able to pull myself out. Now, not everyone is able to do that. I had a whole team of professionals to help me. I did go on antidepressant for, I don't know, was it 3 months, 6 months? It was like a baby dose of Lexapro. And it did help me. But then I never saw that as a long-term solution, and for me, I didn't want it to be. I worked very hard at that. So it got me to where I am today. And, back when Tommy was sick and dying, I talked a lot about doing things. And I did do a lot of things. But some things were just nagging at me, and just a recurring demon, really. And that was one of my demons. And again, demons don't have to be a bad thing. It could be a challenge. It could just be this something gnawing at you, that you feel you must do. It doesn't have to be a bad thing. Mine was playing guitar. I've played musical instruments since middle school. I started playing saxophone in 6th grade, alto sax, tenor sax. Played bass guitar in high school. And trying to sell that bass, actually. It's on eBay right now. And it's a Gibson L9S. the Ripper. I hate to get rid of it, but I'm putting my kids through school, through college, and it's with the second one, I've learned not to take out student loans. I'm going to pay as you go. So I've got to do that. It's on eBay. It sucks. It's a swift kick in the ass, but again, this is just part of my story, and I'm willing to do anything for my kids. So that's a term that I have for myself. See how I'm I make these choices, and yeah, it sucks. I don't want to give up something that I've had since the 1980s. But it's worth some money, and I don't really play it. And I think someone else will really appreciate it more. And I think it's time for me to let it go. My dad told me once, he says, don't get too attached to material things, to anything. Don't get too sentimental about material things, because they're material things. You can lose them. They break, they get stolen, or you sell them and you can use that money and use it for other things. I think that base is much better used paying for my daughter's education. So that's just one way that I, apply this in my own life. I do have some other things for you to think about, though. Because it is, like I said, it's important. Here's some quotes. I think I'm going to wrap this up, though, pretty soon. The stories we hear, the stories we tell, they shape the world around us. Now, it's unknown who said that. Maybe I should take it. My quote, I think, really here is that, a great story can touch our soul and capture our heart. And our life is a story. So doesn't it make sense that we pay attention to the emotion that we carry on a day-to-day basis? Now, because the only one you have is your life, so you might as well make it count. And let's see, gosh, a lot of unknown quotes. The only way to tell your story is to live it. And, everyone loves a good story. Just think about what power stories have in our lives. They can motivate us to do so many different things. I mean, especially when combined with a visual, a photograph. I look at, like a dog, like they have dogs, in the pounds, and my heart just melts, and I just want to pull out my wallet and donate to help them. I usually don't, because I don't have the money, but I want to, and my heart is there. If I could allow my emotions, that passion, if I had the money to back it up, I most absolutely would. And that's the freedom, I think, that this all gives you, is when you start tying your emotions into your plans, into the actions that you're taking to control your terms of your life. That's what this podcast is about. It's about getting you thinking about ways to make your life better. So I will ask a couple of philosophical questions and to wrap this up. So these are just really questions to ask yourself. And I can't answer them for you, but something to think about. What makes a story powerful? Everyone is different. Everyone has different tastes. Some people like horror flicks. Some people like science fiction. Some people want romance. There's nothing right or wrong about it. it's individual. It's unique to your own personality and your own character about what you like. And isn't life like that? You know, it's this story. It's this picture that you paint. It's this character that you create for yourself. We talk about on this show all the time, rock stars. Look at them, how they reinvent themselves. You know, David Bowie, Prince. It wasn't just fashion that they changed. There was musical style. Their life was taking them. Their passion for life was pushing them in different ways, and they were able to creatively express themselves and record that for all of us to enjoy. That's pretty freaking cool. I really envy that, and maybe that's why I started playing my guitar and buying recording equipment and been practicing every day. So I can just have that means of creative expression. Another way of creatively expressing myself, too, believe it or not, is through martial arts. It's a physical expression. And talking about emotions, you know, I think pain is an emotion. It's something you feel. And as I get older, I appreciate this more. You know, when you move, it can hurt, you know, as you get older. My hips, I've got old man hips, and I have to stretch every day to help myself, you know, stay limber and keep moving. Again, I had a team of professionals help me get to this point. Physical therapists, doctors, some cortisone shots, lots of training, lots of daily practice to get myself to this point. But I feel like I'm back. I mean, I've taken time. I've gotten some time back. I feel like I feel younger than ever. I feel like I have so much energy and less pain. The pain that I have had has changed, and now I know how to help it and to relieve it. But it is a constant battle and something I have to work at. And it's very powerful because I keep telling myself the story that, you know, this is going to help me as I get older. I'd rather experience it now and stay in better shape rather than get out of shape and then have to work myself back, because I was really in bad shape. This desk job that I have, it has me sitting a lot, and you know, my legs and my hips were weak. I had to strengthen them. But you know, again, this has also been part of my story for a while. If you're a listener of the podcast for any time, you'll know, you know, I've gone through nutritional challenges, you know, changed my diet, to find out what foods I was really, truly sensitive to, and made changes to my diet. So these things all could make up a part of my story and a part of who I am. And with it, I think the emotion has pushed me to success. And it can help push you, because you're really the only one who's going to get you there. Help is not arriving. I can't help. I can help you form some thoughts and get you thinking about different things, but you're the only one who can take action. And think about how the stories that you're telling yourself, you know, shape your perception of the world. Now, I could sit around and tell myself that I'm getting old. I might as well just accept it, order a nice lazy boy, and just relax, kick back, enjoy, right? But I'm not happy doing that. I like to stay moving. And in fact, I find that the more I move, the more I want to move. And I'm the type of person, I have to go out and experience life. I've been working on my boat, and I'm about ready to put it on the water, and I'm going out into Chesapeake Bay. Maybe do some fishing, but don't care if I catch any fish. I just want to be out there. I'm going to bring my son. I'm going to bring my friends. I'm going to live life to its fullest based on, my narrative and the stories that I create. And I'm going to continue to tell on this podcast. So you can harness, I've mentioned several different ways that you can harness stories to capture the power of stories and work towards personal growth. I really hope that this has been helpful to you and that you can just become, the badass that you know that you are. Because I never thought of myself as a badass, but I have done some badass things, and I'm going to keep on doing badass things for as long as I possibly can. And that's how Tom left the world. He had that same attitude. He was a total badass. He faced death with not only grace, but he was fearless. He accepted his fate. He fought it as hard as he could, but he knew that he was never going to win. And he may have had a terminal illness, that stopped his life, but that situation faces us all. In the end, we can fight this all we want, but we're not going to win. We all are going to have an end date. So it really does matter how you spend your time. Doing things, thinking about things, and how you feel about things. It's all part of the big picture, and it all contributes to a life on your terms. So until the next time, this is John Curran, your host of A Swift Kick in the Ass. Keep kicking ass. Be a badass. This marks the end of another episode of A Swift Kick in the Ass, placing it directly in the can. As much as I like to talk, even I have my limits. It's time to go. Catch me on the next show. For better or worse, whether you like us or not, please leave comments wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on Twitter. Visit our home on the interweb. I think you can leave me a voicemail there. You can also email me at john@aswiftkickintheass.com. It's been my extreme pleasure. I hope you got a lot out of it. I hope you got your ass moving. Until then, until the next time, I'm out of here. Peace.